here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Hey, Mark, you're on Gun Talk. Let's talk about carrying guns in the car.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, you had a caller the same weekend. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I was actually in one of them outpatient doc in the box when called about the trunks or locking the gun in the car, and also about carrying at a doctor's office. But in one of the cars I had in the trunk, I bought a Brinks, like these little cash box type fire safes that just the top opens up. I just drilled holes into the trunk through the floor and used big fender washers on both sides of a bolt so they couldn't pry it open. But I also put the hinge side towards the trunk and the latch towards the side so they couldn't just put a pry bar in there and pop it open real easy. They had to get through so if I ever had to lock it in the trunk and somebody got in, it'd be more of a challenge for them to get to it. Not impossible, but it wasn't a very expensive setup. Some people won't want to drill a hole through the trunk of the car, but it was an older car, and I didn't really care too much, so it didn't hurt anything. That seemed to work.
To your point, you're not trying to make it impossible to get it out, because you can't do that. What you are trying to make it is just less convenient, because generally it's a matter of time. A crook isn't going to want to spend a lot of time in there. If they could go in there and pop a lock and jump in, a lot of times they'll just go rifle through the center console and find guns, because that's where most people leave their guns. But I love the idea of not only a lockbox in your trunk, but you have bolted it to the trunk so they can't just pick the lockbox up and take it out. And you position it in such a way they can't easily pry the box open. And just using, and you could go to a Best Buy, a Home Depot, any place, and get these small fireproof lock boxes, little safes. That would work great. I love the idea.
Yeah, it worked good. It was very expensive at the time, but also it's funny because you were talking, guy called about carrying in the doctor's office. Well, I happened to be sitting in there. If I'm not sure how far I'm going to have to strip down for the doctor to check me out, I have a little Kel-Tec P3AT I can throw in my pocket. So if I take my trousers off and set them down, it's not obvious. If I'm sure I'm not going to be doing anything like that, I usually I've got a Kimber Commander size that I always carry, and that hasn't been a problem. In Virginia, it's not illegal to carry in the doctor's office or hospitals. Of course, they frown on it and tell you can't do it or they don't want it there, but I figure, that's my life, and I'm not looking to put it in the hands of their security. Although, stuff doesn't happen very often at hospitals, but, hey, it does happen.
It happens more often than you'd think. You get crazy people doing crazy stuff in hospitals more often than you would think. And relying on hired help, I heard a great saying this week, and somebody said, telling people to just rely on the police is so privileged, it's like saying, just have the maid do it. Wow, that's strong. I love that. It's like, do it yourself. Exactly. Mark, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Great idea. Just get you a locking box, drill holes, bolt it into the trunk of your car, or if it's an SUV, put somewhere in the back there. Also, a lot of SUVs have a small storage compartment, either on the side or down below, and you can find a way to attach a lockbox in there. You don't have to get hugely creative. You just have to decide you're going to do it. And once done, it's always there for you and always available. And when you get to a place where you think, I got to leave my gun in the car, but I don't want to leave it for the crooks when they just break out a window and take it, there you go. Hey, when we come back, let's talk about what's new in reloading, especially some new loading powders and a brand new loading manual. And yes, I know a lot of this information is available online. I still like to have a loading manual.